The old dishwasher moved slowly through the back kitchen, his hands wrinkled from years of scrubbing, his shoulders rounded as if he had carried more burden than anyone could see. The young cooks laughed quietly whenever he passed, whispering comments that stung even though he never responded. They called him Grandpa Turtle, the fossil, or simply too slow. They assumed he didn't hear, but he did. He heard everything. Still, he washed dishes with the same quiet dedication every night, as if each plate mattered, as if the act itself held meaning that went beyond the noise around him. He rarely looked up, but when he did, his eyes carried a softness that didn't belong in a place as harsh as a restaurant kitchen. It was a softness that made some uncomfortable because it reminded them of something they had forgotten: kindness, patience, or maybe humility. He was invisible, yet always there. Necessary, yet unappreciated, and for reasons no one understood. He never missed a shift, not once. The head chef, a strict but fair man named Marcus, noticed the old dishwasher more than the others did. Marcus had worked with loud, ambitious, arrogant, and sometimes brilliant people, but the old man was none of those. Yet there was something about him that quietly commanded respect, even if the younger staff chose to ignore it. One night, after a particularly busy service, the kitchen was filled with tension. Spilled sauces, broken tempers, and exhausted hands. Marcus shouted instructions like he was conducting a chaotic orchestra. When the rush finally eased, the younger cooks collapsed onto crates near the sink, complaining loudly about everything: the customers, the orders, the heat. One of them tossed a greasy pan into the sink and laughed as it splashed water onto the old man's apron. "Oops, my bad, old-timer. Maybe move faster next time," he said with a grin that sought approval from the others. The old man simply wiped the water off and continued working without a word. Marcus watched from the pass, jaw tight, but he said nothing because the next ticket came in. Later that night, after the staff had gone home, Marcus noticed the old man still working, quietly polishing the last few utensils. It was nearly 2 a.m. "You don't have to stay this late every night," Marcus said gently. The old man smiled. "I don't mind. It keeps me company." "Company?" Marcus echoed. "Yes, at my age, silence is heavier than work," the old man replied before continuing to scrub a pot that no one else would be bothered to clean properly. Marcus didn't know why the answer hit him so hard. He just nodded and left it alone. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and although the teasing didn't stop, something about the old man never changed. He brought the same lunch every day: a small container of rice, boiled vegetables, and a single slice of fruit. He always arrived an hour early and left last. He walked the same path home, carrying a worn leather bag that looked older than most of the staff combined. Then one stormy evening, everything changed. The kitchen was understaffed, the orders overwhelming, the heat suffocating. The young cooks snapped under pressure and blamed each other for mistakes. Tensions exploded when one of them, frustrated and careless, accidentally knocked a stack of freshly washed plates onto the floor. The crash echoed like thunder. Everyone froze. "Seriously?" The cook shouted at the old man, even though it wasn't his fault. "Why do we keep him here? He's useless. We need people who can actually help, not slow us down." The words hung in the air like poison. The old man's hands trembled for the first time. He looked at the pieces of broken plates as if something inside him shattered too. Marcus stepped forward, anger burning in his eyes, but before he could speak, the old man quietly said, "I'm sorry. I'll clean it." He knelt slowly, his knees stiff, his breath shaky. Something about the way he gathered the broken pieces pierced Marcus deeper than he expected. No one helped him. They all just watched. The next day, the old man didn't show up. It was the first time he ever missed a shift. Marcus felt uneasy but tried to focus on the dinner rush. Night came, still no sign of him. On the third day, the restaurant received a small envelope addressed to Chef Marcus. The handwriting was neat but old-fashioned, the kind people don't use anymore. Marcus opened it slowly. Inside was a letter, and as he read the first line, his heart dropped. "Dear Chef Marcus, I'm sorry for leaving so suddenly. My body has grown weaker these days, and I can no longer keep up with the demands of the kitchen. I didn't want to burden anyone or cause trouble. Please tell the young staff not to blame themselves. They are young and full of life. I hope they find success, even if they don't yet understand kindness." Marcus swallowed hard and continued reading. "I wanted to thank you for allowing me to work here. This place reminded me of my son. He loved cooking. He dreamed of becoming a chef like you, but he passed away many years ago. After that, I lost my purpose. Coming here gave me a reason to wake up each day. Washing dishes might seem small to many people, but to me, it was a way to be close to him again. He used to wash dishes beside me when he was a child. He would hum while working, just like how I sometimes hum without realizing. Perhaps you heard it." Marcus felt his hands trembling as he turned to the next paragraph. "I know I was slow. I know I made things harder sometimes. But thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for not letting me go when others wanted me gone. You treated me with respect, and at my age, that is more valuable than money." Tears blurred the words as Marcus continued reading. "If you ever visit the small park near the old library, you will find a bench with my son's name engraved on it. I go there often. If you see an old man sitting there reading, that will be me. But if one day I'm not there anymore, please keep my apron. My wife sewed it for me before she passed. It brings me comfort. I leave it to you." The letter ended with, "Thank you for giving an old man a place to belong." Marcus couldn't breathe. He gathered the entire staff and read the letter aloud. As the words poured through the kitchen, the young cooks lowered their heads in shame. They remembered every joke, every insult, every moment they rolled their eyes at him. Some wiped tears away quickly, ashamed not just of how they treated him but of how little they understood about a person who had been right next to them every day. A silence heavier than any kitchen noise filled the room. That night, Marcus made a decision. The next morning, he went to the small park near the old library. There, on a worn-out bench, sat the old man. A book rested on his lap, and for a moment, Marcus felt relieved. But as he stepped closer, he realized something was wrong. The old man wasn't moving. His eyes were closed, his hands resting peacefully, as if he had simply fallen asleep. Marcus called his name, but there was no response. The book slipped slightly, revealing a faded photograph inside of a young boy in a chef's hat hugging his father. Marcus sank onto the bench beside him, tears falling freely. He stayed there until paramedics arrived. A quiet funeral was held 2 days later. Only 3 people attended: Marcus, the restaurant owner, and a single elderly neighbor who knew the old man from years back. No family, no relatives. Just 3 strangers who suddenly realized how little they knew about the man they had seen every day. After the funeral, Marcus returned to the restaurant carrying the old apron. He hung it on a hook beside the pass, where everyone would see it every day. The young cooks stood silently, guilt written all over their faces. "From now on," Marcus said, his voice steady but emotional, "no one in this kitchen will be judged by their speed, their age, or what you think they can't do. You will respect every person who works beside you." He washed dishes, but he carried more dignity than any of us. The kitchen changed that day. The jokes stopped, the shouting softened. The young cooks worked with more humility. Sometimes, during late nights, Marcus would hear a faint humming near the sink, the same soft hum the old man used to make. No one ever figured out where it came from. Or maybe they didn't want to. And sometimes, when the kitchen lights flickered at closing time, Marcus would glance at the apron hanging by the pass. And he could almost swear he saw it sway gently, as if someone had just walked by. Years later, the restaurant became even more famous, not just for its food, but for its heart. New cooks came in, young and eager, and they all asked the same question: why is that old apron hanging there? Marcus always smiled and answered, because the greatest lesson in this kitchen didn't come from a chef. It came from a dishwasher who showed us what real dignity looks like. And the story lived on. Whispered in quiet moments, carried through generations of kitchen staff who never met the old man, but felt the warmth of the legacy he left behind. People said the kitchen felt different after that, gentler, kinder, almost as if someone unseen was watching over it. Some nights, when the rush was heavy and stress overflowed, someone would inevitably glance toward the apron, and suddenly, it didn't feel so overwhelming anymore. As for Marcus, he kept the letter in his office drawer. Whenever he felt himself growing impatient or frustrated, he read it again. The handwriting reminded him that every person carries a story we cannot see, and sometimes the people we overlook the most are the ones with the deepest wounds and the quietest strength. And so the restaurant thrived not because of fancier dishes or louder chefs, but because of a single old man who washed plates with love, carrying memories that outlived him. In the end, the young staff realized something they never understood before. Respect isn't about rank or skill, it's about humanity. And the old dishwasher had more of it than all of them combined.